to my channel. It's Hey Taj, and we're here back again for a review. Well, this time for a review of The Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16. What episode is it? Episode 12. And we're starting right in the season because I just started this channel and I'm not starting over going through that Kenya stuff. I'm not doing it. So this is how we're gonna start it. We're gonna start it from season 16, episode 12, and we're gonna get right into it. So it starts off with Shamia. Mind you, I'm reading my notes because it's a long episode and a lot goes on. So Shamia and Kelly meet at Shamia's house and they have drinks and talk about, you know, how things are going for them. And they mention going on a vacation with the girls, and Shamia is like trying to figure out where in the Caribbean they're gonna go. And so she guessing everywhere. She guessing places in Asia. She guessing all types of places. And eventually they start coming to the realization that they're going to Grenada. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And they talk about Kelly's divorce. And she talks about how it's just, you know, taxing on her. And her husband is taking her through the ringer. And so, you know, she's just praying and keeping strong while they go through that. And, you know, while they're going back to talking about Grenada, you know, they think about ways that they can give back, and they reach out to Kelly's contact, and he gives them specific ideas on what they can do to give back. And so I always think it's good when the girls give back. I love seeing them go, like, and, you know, go to help the orphanages or go to the locals and just kind of see. I feel like they're one of the few housewives shows that actually do that when they go places. It's not just all like posh pop and circumstance. Like, they try to find, you know, ways that they can help. So I definitely appreciate that when I watch the show. Sometimes it's a little bit sad, but you know, it's a good reminder that people should be grateful for the things that they have, and a good reminder for the girls too. But the whole scene was just real warm and fun, and I enjoyed it. Kelly and Shamir are fun to watch. They really are. Next, Portia takes a house tour with her mom, Miss Diane, and Lauren, and they discuss her nerves about the divorce and just kind of like the back and forth that she's going through with the situation, not really understanding what's going on with Simon. And I guess the divorce is taking longer than she thought, which is really her fault. I do not feel sad for Portia. Respectfully, this is her karma, because whether or not they want to split hairs on when they got together, blah blah blah, if everyone came to the same conclusion that it looked like you took her man, then it looked like you took that lady's man, and this is a karma. You did not do your research. If you're gonna take somebody's man, at least do the research to make sure that you're not gonna have pie on your face at the end of the day. So I don't feel bad for Portia, and when I see her and her mama and Lauren together, it just gives like, it's not genuine. It's kind of fake, and it's getting real phony. And after seeing Portia on Portia Family Matters or whatever her show was called, it's all just, I don't trust really much of what I see. And I kind of like Portia, but she be doing she kind of floss sometimes, for real. Sorry, I got something in my mouth. She be doing some real weird things, and yeah, it just comes off as fake. So yeah, then the next scene, Kelly and her daughter, her daughter and her dog. The dog is getting a dog massage. Kelly's getting like a facial. I'm not too sure what her daughter was doing, maybe watching the dog or whatever, but the whole scene was cute, but it was like kind of pointless. I low-key almost forgot about it when I thought about it. It was just a short, cute little scene, I guess. And that dog had lashes on, which I thought was just so cute, but also very funny. Like, what? And the lashes was long. I'm like, okay. Then Shamia's at the radio station promoting her music, and I like Shamia's music. I like Shamia's voice. She can actually sing, unlike some of the ladies that be on the show. There's a select few that can sing, and we know that they can sing, and Shamia is definitely one of them. Drew was one of them too, and I find it just like, not self-sabotaging, but like, why are you promoting your music but then shading Drew? Yes, she called you a lapdog, and it took me a minute to even remember what happened. But yeah, she called you a lapdog. Was it rude? Yes. You know, like, if you don't feel like you a lapdog, you gonna feel like you were slighted. But was she lying? I mean, like, everyone and anybody with eyes could see that there's a mismatch on like your friendship. Even back in the day when you was just a friend, and you and her and Portia and Phaedra, all that whole situation, like, you knew back then that Candy was more of a friend to you back then. So let's not act surprised at you know, people calling you a lapdog, when you going back and telling information, half of the information, or putting it in a different context, like, we'll get to that point. But should Drew have said that about Portia's daughter? No, you know what I'm saying? But if Portia being rude, and yeah, we'll get to that. So yeah, she's on the radio talking about Drew and all her album and how it's not being played on the radio. But I feel like it was just a missed opportunity for, and maybe the scene was cut, but I definitely feel like it was a missed opportunity for her to just kind of focus on herself and not be doing all that. But I might give it a listen. I still haven't heard her music. So if she even put it out, because I know Drew puts the music out. I haven't heard hers either, but I heard great reviews about Drew's music. So yeah. Anyway, so Shamia is done with that. Then Brit and Bare and Naked, which it took me a while to even figure out what she was saying. I thought she was saying bare naked. I wish she would have called it buck naked or something. I don't know, but with go naked and bare naked, it was just whatever. I guess her and her husband were talking about just her event that she was gonna have at the country club. It was another one of those short scenes where she's just, you know, showing the invitation, saying she's gonna invite the girls, and yeah, it was short and sweet. Then Angela and her husband are doing a walkthrough in the next part of one of their rental properties. I guess they have some trouble selling it. They invested a lot of money into it, and now it's back at the original asking price that they bought it for. So she's like, yeah, I have like 7 rental properties and I'm in like $2 million in debt. And I know that she could sell those houses. It's a lot of, you know, young couples or people who are getting their first home, or somebody that would buy that house. I feel like maybe she's asking for too much for those houses, and because she's trying to make her money back. But there's ways that she can get her money back. She's technically the owner of the house, right? I don't know how real estate works, but yeah, I mean, you're in Atlanta. I'm sure there's people that move in there that would love that home, but she's trying to sell a $500K home for 1.5, and maybe that's not gonna happen. You know, so they talk about that, and then they end up going to into how her mom left her house, her mom left the house that Angela and her sister bought her. And when she said that a couple episodes ago, I was trying to figure out why, like, what would make her do that? And then they kind of got deeper into it, and they talked about how, you know, Charles and her mom got into an argument, and I based on how a lot of these elders are, like, they barely be wanting to ask you for stuff or ask anybody else for stuff, or want you having stuff to hang over their head. So maybe it was a case of one of those where she was just kind of like, I don't want this having nothing to hang over my head. Y'all can have this house and I will get my own house. But, you know, rightfully so, Angela was a little upset about that, you know, and kind of hurt by that, because as a child, I'm sure most people have a dream to, like, you know, take care of their parents. So if you work in your blood, sweat, and tears to get the house, and then your mama just sell it, you don't even know, it's like, yeah, I would kind of be hurt by that too. So, you know, but at the end of the conversation, you know, they talked about the argument, and Angela apologized to Charles for, you know, just going with her mama and taking her mama's side. And even though it was an argument between both of them, she just went straight to her mama's side, and she would force, you know, make sure that Charles said hi, and, you know, just kind of being, you know, one-sided. And I guess, you know, she wanted him to not feel singled out in the marriage. I guess they have very traditional, I don't know how their marriage is, but they're a little older, and so I could see why she felt it important to apologize to him. You know, he's kind of grumpy, so maybe, you know, he was kind of acting out in other ways, and she felt an apology was needed. I don't know. I kind of like Charles because he reminds me of, like, the men in my family. They not that grumpy and that rude, but the straightforwardness, like, yeah, one of my uncles is like that for sure. So is it right? No, but that's how they are. So yeah, they ended the scene during that, and it was nice, I guess. Then, it wasn't the end of the scene. Then they talk about going to Brit's party, and Angela not even sure if she want to go. Charles don't never want to go, but after Brit was saying, oh, Charles got a side baby, he don't even claim her, you know, like, talking all that shit. I could understand why Angela wasn't even wanting to go, you know. So they was kind of discussing back and forth, but she was like, you know, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna see what it's about. So yeah, we're gonna see that when they get there to Brit's pre-launch for her Bare and Naked shapewear. It was the most unorganized party I've ever seen on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Everybody's showing up and nothing is ready. There's no signs. The tables don't have nothing on them. People walking up like, is this the event? Why did it have to be at a country club? It makes no sense. There's no connection to the brand. I mean, like, it felt like the most last minute type of situation. I don't know whose idea this was. They golfing in they Balenciaga, they Hermes. I mean, they're golfing heels, getting stuck in the grass. They finna crash the golf cart. The energy around the event was just too much and not enough. Okay, too much and not enough. It just came off as last minute. And it, I was thinking while I was watching, because you know how as women, if you're a woman or whatever, if you're a man, woman, you find an outfit that you like and you try to figure out where you're gonna wear it. That's how I feel this situation was. Brit saw an outfit with that hat and was like, ooh, this gives country club, this gives brunch, this gives something cute. So then she came up with that and was like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this, because it just was all over the place and it was not organized, in sync. It wasn't in theme. And then she invited a bunch of people there that we had no clue who they were, but then everybody on the show was at like their own table, and so those people at like the Real Housewives of Atlanta girls got all the food. Like, I don't know if it was supposed to be like hors d'oeuvre style, or like if it was supposed to be like chopped, like sandwiches chopped up, but all the other guests didn't get nothing to eat. And I think Angela was one of the guests that didn't get nothing to eat. And she's like, it was just crazy. And then, so they're going, the event is going on, is she's, Brit is thanking people for coming, and she's giving people their boxes of their gifts, which was another thing. She only had enough gifts for the people at the table. So then why were there other people there to watch people get the gifts? It's like, did you just want to have a full room of people? Like, could you not have just had the housewife girls there? And then the box just had the shapewear in it. It didn't have no tissue paper, no decorations. You didn't open it up. A butterfly didn't fly out. It was nothing. It was just the shapewear. And then it was people's wrong size. She over there saying, if you need a different size, let me know and I'll get you the right size. Everybody know Portia ain't no small, so she at least a large with that booty. And you giving people the wrong size. I mean, that it's just like not organized. And then they didn't know how to get into the scene. So Angela, oh wait, before that, oh my God, they were talking about how they were just talking about their surgeries. And I found it so funny because she was like, yeah, back at my company, I took my girls to Miami and they were able to get whatever plastic surgery they were able to get. And Portia's like, plastic surgery? And I said the same thing. I'm like, plastic surgery? And she like, yeah, they were able to get whatever they want. And it was just like so casual. Like, what kind of company is paying for plastic surgery? What if something bad happens? You're on a company trip getting plastic surgery. I thought that was just like crazy, like just insane to me. But they didn't know where to go from that. And so that's when Angela was just like, she just broke the ice and was like, Charles does not have a side baby. And so I just thought that was so funny, because she was like, yeah, and Charles does not have a side baby. And then Brit was talking about she not Charles's, what'd she say, whore? And I was just like, what? Everybody was just like gagging, like, what? But of course, Charles did not think the shit was funny. He was just like looking like, I'm not amused, and I'm not even gonna give you like one of those like pity laughs. I'm literally gonna make you look at you like you're stupid, because that's how I feel. I feel like you're stupid for even saying that, whether or not it's true. But he did not think the shit was funny, and I just felt like if Angela had not said that and kind of got the show going, because that's why we're here, then they would have just been sitting there looking at each other, because there was no like, you know what I'm saying, child. Everyone was perturbed, to say the least. And then they started getting into the other types of convos. So Drew and Brit then hashed out their issues, and they say they're gonna have a conversation, because Drew and Brit, I feel like their issue was just like a side issue from being around everybody else. My bad, yeah. It was just a side issue from being around everybody else. And so they decided to have their own little combo, which I think they should do. But then Kelly jumps in and said that Drew needs to tell the truth. Was she lying? No. Drew is like a known liar. And this is what makes, when people want to windmill for Drew, this is what makes it hard, because she lies so much about stupid stuff. Why are you lying, saying that Michael Jackson, that would have been crazy, but she didn't have to go that far. Michael Jordan is your cousin because your maiden name is Jordan or whatever she said. Like, girl, why are we saying that? And you're not even saying it in the sense of like it's a joke, like to where people could see that you're just being lighthearted or whatever. You're trying to make people believe that, and then it has to come out later that it's not true. So you're saying little white lies, and it makes people feel like you're dishonest about other things. So then, yeah, Kelly is right about saying you be lying about stuff. Then she tried to say that that's not true, but pretty much everybody thinks you lie. Everybody thinks you lie. You need to work on that, Drew. You do. If you don't want people to think you're a liar, then stop lying. I mean, damn. And then Shamia jumps in about Drew calling her a lapdog. And so this is what I got into briefly. It's like, yeah. Is it rude? Yes. Is she lying? No. Shamia, I can't tell if she was like a little drunk or whatever, but she starts barking, saying she's not gonna listen to her, blah, blah, blah. And while Drew was trying to explain why she called her a lapdog, and that's because Shamia did go back to Portia and tell her about, you know, Drew saying that she gonna, Drew's royalties from her album is gonna help pay for Pilar's college or her snacks, which, if I'm going back and forth, if I'm Drew and Portia and we're trying to speak to each other and we hadn't had the opportunity to speak to each other, but we're going through separate parties to talk mess about each other, that's what was happening, because Portia was also saying stuff about Drew and implying that she was trying to get with her or doing something sly and underhanded. So if Drew's response to that is, well, something shady, you can't then go, Shamia, you can't then go to Portia and be trying to like act like start at the middle. So yeah, both of them is wrong. So you shouldn't have been there trying to like add fuel to the fire. So yeah, you are kind of messy and you are a lapdog in that sense. Now, would I call you a lapdog? No, because I mean, I don't really see Shamia as a lapdog. Is she weak in her relationship with Portia? Absolutely. Is she like too? There just has to be a line with, I mean, I've had best friends before. I don't have a best friend now, but I've had best friends before. And a friendship is where it's not, you're free to call the person out. They respect you. They want to hear you out. Anybody with eyes can see that that's not what's happening with her and Portia. So whether a hit dog hollered and it made her upset because somebody was calling it out, or what, I don't know. But was she lying? No. Was she lying? And so Shamia and Drew have a back and forth. She started barking, talking about some kiss my muff ass bitch, and she turned her back to her. And then Portia just sitting there sipping her drink. As usual. So yeah, she wasn't even like, yeah, Drew, I mean, I feel like Portia's not trying to give Drew no type of nothing. And so she's just like, I'm not even gonna act like Drew is here, so I'm just gonna sip my drink. It was really a one-on-one type of situation. So, but this is yet another situation where it's just kind of like, Portia don't say nothing, and she really shouldn't have said anything anyway. But anyway, so in the midst of this argument, Brit come out talk about something. Excuse me, this is a classy event, so if y'all want to have that conversation, y'all can go outside and have that conversation. And I cracked up because then everybody just got up and left. Everybody got up and left. Oh my god, that was so funny. So yeah, then we move on. So Drew and her road manager meet via Zoom. Road manager meet, and they're getting ready to sign. Drew's getting ready to sign her record deal, and they meet via Zoom with Dennis. Before she's able to really get things signed, she needed to, you know, just put some shit out there. So she calls Dennis to clear the air. And since they're going to be working together, you know, she's kind of like, hey, you know, Portia's saying I'm making passes at you, and, you know, I'm doing this and this and that for me to get free studio time. And he just like, first of all, studio time ain't free, so what studio time I'm getting for free? And pretty much he was just like, this some BS. Like, we're not even finna entertain that. We're here to be happy, sign your record deal. We're here to make some music and, you know, break records. And so I kind of respected that, because We all know that's some bullshit. Now we one thing about Drew, she be lying, but we can just all tell that she's not. Portia, even when her and Portia and Dennis had talked about that previously, he was like, you're reading into this, when she read that text, you're reading into this text in a way that's not what I said. Nobody said that Drew was trying to do that. You're making it seem like on camera by reading the text a certain way that she's trying to do that, and that's not what happened. So he's back on that, like, yeah, that's some bullshit. So after that, she signed her little record deal. She's excited, she's happy, she's ready to film her video, do all the stuff she gotta do, and they left it at that. Hopefully Drew and Portia can sit down and they can have a better conversation about what's true and what's not. This conversation needs to happen. Portia, you're not that girl on the show to be trying to exile people. You're filming with her, and you're gonna see her at the reunion. Shit, she provided more to the show than you. So it would behoove you to talk to Drew so you can have some, hello, wake up. So then, speaking of that, Frick and Frack are back. And I don't really know if I'm too excited about it. I mean, does it come off genuine? Not really. It seems like I need you, you need me, so let's just get back together because we have history. And I wasn't even trying to rhyme, but that's how it felt. I don't think Phaedra really should be excited either, other than the fact that, this is her stomping grounds. She did have a good run on Housewives until the end. She is a fun character to watch. Seeing her and Phaedra together was fun to watch, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't want to speak prematurely, but I don't know. If seeing Phaedra on this show felt more realistic than when she was on Married to Medicine, because when she was on Married to Medicine, it was like a whole new group. Even though she knew some of the people, not really understanding the dynamic, I felt like maybe that was the reason why it was a little cold and a little dry, because it was kind of, and then they brought Apollo up on there, like it wasn't really a good, that dynamic that wasn't gonna work. And so, is it nice that they brought her back? Would I feel happy if I were Phaedra? Yes, because I'm able to get back on the show where I kind of set roots on. Would I feel like I was being used as like the last resort? Maybe a little bit. But I guess we were all just waiting for Candy to leave, because Candy's story was done, respectfully, and she was not gonna film with Phaedra. So one of them had to. And once Candy left, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how Phaedra, I feel like we'll see. It might be a lot of drama because, we'll see. But, it was, the flashback of seeing them together was a cute little vibe. But then they went back and did the flashback, and I was like, damn, y'all bringing it all the way back. But I guess you kind of do, because if people don't watch Married to Medicine, it's like, okay, the last time we seen Phaedra, she was being called a major liar, okay? A megawatt lie, as Andy said. And that was not a good look. It wasn't good at all. So, they went through the whole thing. And then it made it feel awkward once they did get back together. And then Portia's like, well, when I get over stuff, I get over it and I move on. And so I'm like, you could almost got sued for the stuff you was saying. You had it was finna be bad. If you didn't slip up and say, well, Phaedra told me that, imagine what would have happened. You was almost off the show again. Thankfully you got saved after you dragged Kenya. The girls were able to save you, and Candy and Nene was one of the main people that was able to help you during that situation stay on the show. Because you came back as a friend of, and they made sure to film with you. Then you backstab the same person who helped you after your divorce. I'm sorry to get back into it. You backstab the person to help you get back on your feet after your divorce, Candy. Collabed with Phaedra. Said F Shamia, push her to the side, allow Phaedra to talk mess about Shamia and Candy. And then want to act like you just didn't have nothing to do with it. And flash forward about 10 years later, I guess, y'all could be BFFs. After you said you used her to get back. Child, that's what I'm saying. It's gotta be a I need you, you need me type of situation. But we're gonna see. I'm not gonna speak too prematurely. We're gonna see the next couple episodes. I think they're getting ready to film the reunion. And so we don't have the seating chart yet, but I heard today that they're getting ready to film the reunion. So I think maybe we have like 5 episodes left. We're gonna see, but y'all, we're gonna get into it. I'm excited to talk to y'all about it, and you know, it's a lot that's going on. But I like the new girls. I like seeing the new girls on the show. They bring a lot of fun. Kelly's fun. The addition of Shamia is fun. She gets a lot of confessional time on the show. Like, I don't know if the time that Kenya was on there, they put Shamia's confessionals in that place of where Kenya's confessionals were, but we see Shamia a lot in the confessional side, you know, so it's fun. The only person I kind of don't like is Brit, and it has nothing to do with the Kenya situation. She just really don't bring nothing, you know, she really don't. And what she do bring is not enough, and it's too much at the same time. And I just don't think it's boding well with me or I can't speak for the vast majority of the audience, but it's not giving what she think it's giving. Maybe when they're in Grenada, because the next episode look like it's gonna have something, so we'll see. But thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Please click your post notifications so you know whenever I post. So you could be one of the first people to see the video, and be sure to leave your comments. I want to hear what you guys have to say, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.